The divine doesn't work with probabilities, it simply creates. Now, before we dive in, understand that this is coming from a more spiritual viewpoint. It might sound a little out there or even go against what you've been taught, but bear with me. It could lead you to a kind of inner peace that I've been feeling lately. The divine doesn't see things as good or bad. It just creates everything, both what we call bad and what we call good. And here's why this matters. In life, you need to start thinking more like the divine. Instead of labeling things as positive or negative, ask yourself what you really want to experience. Whatever the divine focuses on, it brings into being. And since you're an individual expression of that divine energy, the same rule applies to you. When you label something as bad, you actually invite more of it into your life because the divine responds to whatever you give your attention to. For the divine, there's no such thing as idle thoughts or daydreaming. It takes every thought seriously and manifests it into reality. So, what do? Think of things as either desirable or undesirable, instead of calling them good or bad. If something doesn't feel right, don't reject it or condemn it. Just shift your focus to what you do want, and that's what will start to take shape in your life. This shift is subtle but powerful. Human thinking is often filled with fear or trivial concerns, but the divine sees everything as creation and experience. When you dwell on something long enough, even if it's negative, the divine accepts it as your truth and brings more of it into your life. Then we wonder why we keep facing the same struggles, whether it's conflicts with family, financial issues, or any other problem. The answer is in how you think about these things. So let's take it a step further. Try to think like the divine. Let go of the concept of time. In the divine's mind, when it thinks something, it's already done. There's no waiting or delay. It exists only in the present moment. Authors like Neil Donald Walsh, in Conversations with God, talk about how everything is happening right now. Time only applies to your human self, but your higher self, the divine within, is experiencing everything at once, across multiple realities. Neville Goddard also speaks about your inner man, who can be anywhere, anytime, in your imagination. And even Dr. Joe Dispenza, from a scientific angle, explains that all versions of you exist right now in the quantum field. If you can focus more on your energy rather than on the physical world, you can even alter how you experience time. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, time changes or slows down when something moves faster than the speed of light. The point is that time isn't fixed, it's flexible. And to your divine self, time doesn't exist at all. Your higher self is everywhere, having all experiences right now. So, what does this mean for you? It means you can feel fulfilled in the present moment. You already have everything you want because your divine self does. The more you align your thoughts with this truth, the more blissful and fulfilled you'll feel. Your reality will shift to reflect the life you've been imagining. Why don't our lives change more drastically? It's because we're stuck thinking the same old thoughts, relying too much on the past. But your divine self creates only in the present. Thinking about the past is the same as recreating it now. When you think of something with feeling, you are actively creating it. So stop dwelling on the past, and instead, feel as if what you want is already yours. Your higher self is already experiencing it, and you just need to tune into that energy. As Neville Goddard said, to desire something means you already have it on some level. The very act of desiring it is proof that your divine self is already experiencing it. But when we resist or doubt it, that's when it fails to show up in our reality. So it all comes down to choosing what you want to experience, and trusting that your divine self will bring it into being. If you focus on what you don't want and label it as bad, it sticks around. So, shift your thoughts to what you do want. The ego loves to dwell on problems, but the divine mind only creates. It doesn't ponder possibilities or pros and cons. If you need proof, just look at the chaos in the world. If the divine judged everything by human standards of good and bad, this place would be a perfect utopia. But it's not. Why? Because we've been given the power of creation in our own lives, and often, we create chaos through our human thoughts. That's why I encourage you to think like the divine. Once you start thinking this way, things will make sense. You'll understand that you become what you focus on. When you think from the divine perspective, you align with its pure, loving energy and lift yourself out of a mindset of lack. This shift will bring a sense of peace and fulfillment that I've been fortunate enough to experience myself. We need to elevate our consciousness and stop thinking from a place of limitation. If we do this collectively, we can create a better world. Otherwise, the ego will continue to breed suffering and ignorance of the true nature of life. When you think like the divine, you realize that even the challenges and suffering are part of a dream, a temporary illusion in the mind of the all.